Imagine if you were watching a baseball game and there are no hits. Nobody is hitting the ball to first, a single, a triple, nothing, no home runs. And then all of a sudden, one batter gets up to bat and he swings, and that ball just takes off. And just that ball from hitting that bat just goes super far, super high, super far out there. That action of that ball releasing from that bat when it's hit is the exit velocity, right? That's the escape velocity. How quickly can it go once it hits? And that's what we're talking about today is your exit velocity. How quickly, how fast can you move on once you've taken a hit, once you maybe get laid off, maybe you lose your job, maybe your business is gone, maybe you are just starting from scratch, you're getting out of school, who knows what, but you are pivoting and you need to have velocity in that exit. You need to really take off quickly. This is what we're talking about. Think of it as you as a business owner. How do you really progress your business? How do you take off and make a huge difference from the get-go? This is escape velocity. We don't just want you to move on when something happens. We want you to move up. And we're going to show you how to completely explode your business and your career as you move forward. And this is what makes this really fun, right? This is the ability to reinvent yourself this year. You can actually do it right now. You can set the foundation for this velocity right now. And there's a right way and there's a wrong way to do it. And that's what we're going to talk about today on Iconic TV. And if you have never been here before, we definitely want you to go ahead and subscribe, but understand that why are we here? For years, we've been here talking about the strategies and the principles to grow and scale your business. You might have a brick and mortar business. You could be a consultant looking to grow that business. And we want to show you how do you do it with the least amount of effort. So you're not burning yourself out, stressing, struggling, and sacrificing your whole life, but you can go from 6 figures to 7 figures in 1 year or less. That's the magic of what we're talking about today. So let's go ahead and dive into the topic about exit velocity. And it's a real fun topic as we're talking about it today. We really want to know, what is it about? Okay. So remember that hit. You can almost hear it, right? There's a smack right when those two things happen. And that's the change maker, right? There's this momentum that happens as soon as that touches and it carries into the next chapter. And wherever your next chapter is, are you carrying momentum forward or are you just stuck? A lot of people, when they transition as executives, they just sort of go, oh, I don't know what to do, or they stall out for 5 or 6 months. We're hiring a lot of people right now as consultants in our business. And the most interesting thing when we're talking to executives is how long they want to wait until they get right back on the horse, until they take off. It's really amazing. And why is that? We're going to talk about that in a minute. But you've got to build this momentum and having the clarity. This could be part of the reason people don't have any clarity about what they want to do. They're so stuck in the past, in reversion of what happened before, and they just can't get off of that and move forward. And they don't have a really good narrative in their head or even in talking to people. So many of the people we talk to, they're so boring. Like if you're in transition, think about, how is your narrative? What is your story? How are you going to convince anybody, a new client, a new employer, that you have what it takes to move forward fast? And then the other thing that we see happening is you must maintain and build your authority, because that gap where you're just kind of sinking down and you're in a trough and the woe is me period, it doesn't work. It actually steals your authority. And you need to have that exit velocity. You need to just kick in that momentum, kick in that clarity and the authority. Don't lose authority when you leave, right? Now, here's what's really happening right now. Let's take a look at some of this. 2025 has been pretty catastrophic for people. 1 million layoffs. You look at a lot of different sources, some have hidden data, but this is pretty much the consensus. And it's the worst year since 2009 recession. Remember what happened in 2008, which was the mortgage collapse and Lehman and all of these companies? Well, we're right back there in terms of numbers, but keep in mind, we should be having greater numbers, more people in the field, right? Not happening. The other thing, October, just a few months ago, saw 150,000 jobs eliminated. That was the largest wave of job loss in 20 years. Never have we had that kind of a shift. So this is what's happening right now. Let's also take a look at the fact that over 4,200 different companies have announced layoffs for 2025. There's something called the Warren Report that you'll see. If this is your company, then I really want you to listen up. If this is happening in your business, especially if you're in charge of HR or something like that. But think about this. It's happening right now, and it might have skirted around you, but it might not, right? In California, I live here in Del Mar, California, beautiful place, right? What did we see? Over 90,000 layoffs just in California. Okay, we're not managed very well anyway, but that's a big number. Washington State, I used to live there. God bless me. They've recorded over 55,000 layoffs. Who are some of the big companies there? Think about it. It starts with an A. Amazon. We've got Google, Meta, Microsoft, HP, McKinsey. The other consulting companies are laying people off. Why? We know why. There's a lot of reasons. Not all of it is political, but there's a lot that has to do with AI. It's happening in tech sectors, in retail, and all kinds of industries, transportation, whatever your industry is. And you're going to notice that government's a huge sector, not just if you work in government, but if you deal with the government, you could have a lot of problems. Now, I don't want this whole episode to be doom and gloom. This is not what we're talking about. I'm going to show you some way that you can have this exit velocity, how you can turn these around. But first, you have to really wake up and see what are the facts, right? The challenge with traditional exits, and your exit may be by choice or by force. That's the question. But most people treat that exit as an ending. Oh no, this is what happened to me. And how you exit is going to affect your reputation and, right, the opportunity costs. What are you doing with that? If you don't have a clear pivot, if you're not prepared for it, then you could be having almost what we call this trough, this degrade, and a lowering of a number of things, including your status, your reputation, your income, and your opportunities going forward. So there's a new way, okay? So executives don't just leave, they launch. The old way, they take their cardboard box and they're out the door, right? That's not necessary anymore. You should all be thinking about, if this doesn't work, what's next? Yes, be singularly focused. We talk about this all the time, but do you have the next step? Where are you going next? And what's the new way is to launch, not to just sit there and take it and go smaller and grab anything that comes up. Okay. And the other thing is, the faster you switch, the faster you transition, the more desirable you are. Okay. We deal again with lots of consultants. But if you say, well, why'd you get into this? Oh, I couldn't find a job for 3 years. That's not good. Okay. So there are these levers that you can pull, right, to reinvent yourself, right, after this transition, which is going to happen to almost everybody. If it hasn't happened to you yet, it probably will. If it's already happened to you, it could happen again. So you want to have momentum, right? Showcase your adaptability. How can you do all this? What can you do? How can you take all your skills, your tools, your resources, your knowledge, and showcase it in a way to the people that really want to utilize that? And consulting is one of the best things that you can do. So how do you preserve your authority? How do you protect your reputation? And a lot of times you might think you were great, but if somebody calls in and checks on you, might not be as good. How do you know that when you walk away, you left a really golden trail behind you? And then the clarity over the chaos. Really define your narrative, right? Again, this is the summary. What do you need to do? You need the momentum. You need to maintain your authority and get really, really clear of where you're going. Because if you're not clear, it's going to be hard to transition. My goal for you is for you to get into your own business. I'm not here to advocate employment in a job. I'm here to encourage you that the best thing you can do is own your own business, have your own job, your own hours, your own success. Whether you want to have a brick and mortar, whether you want to actually support companies and be in that consulting role, okay, we want you to understand there is a better way to do it. And a lot of people think that it's hard. It's actually easy if you have a strategy, if you have a plan, and if you don't try to go it alone. A lot of people feel that, oh, it would just be safer to take another job, less risky. But what we're seeing is that the cycle of job transition is actually increasing according to the research we found, and that people are changing jobs every 2 to 4 years. That's a lot of turnover. That's no stability. And you're not really saving much up. I think I'm waiting for that 401k. Well, in a job, if you're good, you're going to make less in a job than you will in your own business if you're good. Okay. So what's the steps, right? When somebody's going to exit well, and this is Nancy, and Nancy was actually working for one of the top 3 big consulting firms and lost her role. And she had lots of money, lots of benefits, but she was also working around 75 to 80 hours a week. And she just didn't even have time to enjoy all the things that life afforded her. So yes, she was really good, but she was completely burnt out. And the field, the area, the specialty she had was now condensing thanks to AI. And so she was out. So the first thing is looking at, there's the exit. Okay. What do? You've had the exit. Now you've got to figure out, what is my next step? And you've got to move quickly, right? This is that velocity again. And then where am I going to reinvent? She thought, well, I know this and I have good connections. She had a stellar reputation, but she was going to take a year off and just kind of look around and explore opportunities. We said, don't do that, because you're less valuable as that gap between your exit and your new opportunity hits. So you want to condense time, right? Compress it and get right into the next thing. And so what we did is build up her new authority with books and a platform and messaging that made it an easy transition. Who wouldn't want a consultant from one of these big companies, right? And so when you're facing an exit, leverage where you left from. Don't just go, oh, I got laid off from there, right? Take it in a new direction. I hope this is making sense to you. What we're trying to share with you is that it's not the end. This is the time to launch and go in a new way. If you're thinking, I should launch, or I'm a little worried about where to go, I want to encourage you to look at the field of consulting. Why? Because there's so much opportunity. The business is always going to be there. Why? Because there are always businesses that need to grow and scale and enhance their profitability. That's where you could come in. And we would love to talk with you if you are looking at that, thinking, how could I actually become a consultant? Most people are thinking about it. Rather than giving away all their ideas, why not actually be in control of that? And so if you want to learn more about this, we would love to help you out with that. And if you're ready for an exit, I'm going to show you how to do it with confidence. So you aren't scared. You don't have imposter syndrome. You don't hold back. You don't play small. You don't just get little tiny gigs, right? You preserve your authority and then you accelerate your future. And so make it something that actually works for you when you exit, rather than something that's working against you. So all you have to do is go to callconnie.com, hop on a 10-minute call with us. Tell us what you're doing, right? Maybe you have a new business and it's not growing. Maybe you want to help businesses grow, and maybe you're just trying to figure out, I don't know what to do. Okay, that's okay. Just 10 minutes can't hurt, can't sell you anything, you can't buy anything, but you might get some really good answers, and then we'll point you in the direction for the next step that you need to go. So that's a free service that we offer to you guys, and I want you to take advantage of it. And it's not, if it's not happening to you, it's happening to somebody you know, right? So the checklist, what do you have to do? What do you have to think about? Whether your company is going through this exit strategy and you've got a lot of people that you are actually letting go, or you are being one of the people that is being let go, right? Get your narrative down early, know exactly what it's going to be. And then architect a handoff plan. What are you going to do from when you leave one company to the next? If you are a company, how are you going to tell everybody that there's a transition coming, you're going to be laid off, or doing a restructuring of our company, or a downsizing, whatever the term is? It just means bye-bye, right? So how do you express that? How do you do that handoff? How do you communicate your authority consistently, whether you're on the receiving or the delivering end of this exit? And then how do you position for the next chapter with confidence? So those are the 4 things that you have to look at. If you need some help with that, you feel like, hey, I'm facing a transition, or if you're an organization and you know you are preparing for this, we'll be happy to come in and do a workshop for your people and show them how they can easily transition into their next phase. So this is interesting. If you look at, according to Harvard Business Review, and they look at a lot of studies, and what they study is the first 100 days of an executive. Lots of studies on how those first 100 days are, right? Just making sure, oh, this is what you see it with presidential new incumbents, where they're like, okay, whether it's the current president or the previous or whatever, everyone counts that first 100 days. Like, that's that velocity we're talking about. It's studied intensely, and you can do really well with your business if you study this, okay? We call some of this in business the 12 profit levers that you can pull, and do that very, very quickly and add hundreds of thousands of dollars to your business. But the problem is the last 100 days of somebody, nobody looks at it. They don't study that. And I think you really should. Why in the last 100 days did you go down? What happened? What didn't work anymore? Why were you not there? Why were you chosen to exit? Think about that. If people are ignoring that, they all know how to make the first 100 days great, but what happens? Why is that the antithesis where all of a sudden you're out? So you want to think about, okay? And think about this, because when you don't look at this, you can erode your shareholder value or your own value, right? What's your value to the marketplace? And this could be destabilizing your strategy, and it can also undermine trust. If you're not looking at, why did we have this happen? Right? Looking at your business, oh my gosh, I think we're going to shut down, or we're going to shut down a product or a brand or a branch, or we're going to consolidate or trim, right? Why? What happened? Right? How did the value erode? How did the strategy disappear? How did the trust go out? Right? Trust is love. Why is nobody loving your company anymore? Think about that. Are you looking just at the wrong place? And Fast Company also says that they call executive transitions one of the most under-recognized systemic risks that organizations face today. If you are seeing that there's lots of executive transitions coming, and in a company, people don't even realize how much that can rock a company. And why is nobody seeing this earlier? So if the companies know before they let anyone go, why don't you? And this goes again back to, why are we all looking at the first 100 days and we're ignoring the last of, what have I done for you lately? Are you thinking about this in your business? I want you to look at, why is your business probably flatlined this year? Or maybe it's been down. Maybe the industry's gone down. Why aren't you the disruptor in your business and going up? right? When everybody's going to be laid off and out of work, and we don't want a world where there's UBI, right? You want to have a world where you own your own thing. And whether you are coming in and consulting and you own that business and you're helping other businesses grow, or you have a business you're looking for consultants, you want to find people that have this exit velocity. Not only do they know how to move things, but they can create that momentum in your business. So this is that duality of this message, is that this is for you if you have a business, but also if you're launching a business and the economy is shrinking. That's a no-brainer. We can't even argue that. But you can turn it into a launch pad, right? And my recommendation for you here is look at consulting as your launch pad. That's something that you're not going to be replaced with, but you're always going to have a great market. And one of the first things they say in business is looking at your market. Is it a large enough market? What's your TAM, your total addressable market? And this is a place where you have a huge TAM. And here's another reason why it's so powerful. People are on to the top 3 and the big 4 consulting firms, and that they're not delivering value. They're desk jockeys, right? They're just giving you a slide deck, but they don't actually fulfill and have this transformation. And that's where the individual consultant is coming in. And that's why this is so powerful. People are moving away from the mega consulting firms where you're just a number and getting intimate consulting. And so if you're looking for something like that, definitely talk to us. We're happy to work with you on your consulting business. And see, your whole legacy is defined at your exit. Think about your last transition, whether it was where you left something, you started your company, maybe you started a new company if you're like us and you acquire different companies, or you're going from employment to entrepreneurship, right? A well-timed and well-executed exit can determine your reputation and the future of an organization. So how you set yourself up is going to determine how well you do. This is what we're talking about. This is exit velocity. Wherever you are, you're going to face this. And if you're not experiencing it, you're going to encounter people with it. And they might be coming on with your business. You want to look at, how do people handle these transitions? Are they slow, or are they like right back up at bat? Okay. So it's also this, right? We talk about this a lot. Right? We say we do a lot of business strategy to grow and scale businesses, 6 figures, 7 figures, 1 year or less. Everyone's like, oh, it can't happen. Yeah, it can. But why do they say, no, it can't happen? The mindset, right? And when you experience an exit, you have to figure out, are you just clinging to an old job? And that if you do, you're going to lose your status. Your career stalls out because you're just like, I just need another job. I just need another job. Why do people say that? They think that the security is in the job or in the benefits, but you could make twice as much in your own business if you want to. You don't even pay your own benefits. You don't need someone else to do that, right? You don't need to stand in a line for your paycheck. You don't need to be told what to do. And the security, right? Diminished. Like, oh, I need this, right? When something is taken away from us, we want it more. But that's not what's happening. Nothing's taken away from you. What we're going to talk about is it's an opportunity. People who are so fearful about an exit when they should be exuberant are very risk averse, right? So what we're talking about here is shifting that whole mindset, right? You're going to make a switch, and you have to shift your mindset to focus on your future, not on your past. And that's what's going to get you through. And you see an exit as an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity for you also to establish a greater leadership identity. And most people say in business, like, the reason they leave companies on their own is usually their boss. They can't cross that, right? They can't get to that leadership role, even though you know you would be better at it than they are. So now you can establish that leadership and your authority and preserve it by making a quick shift, right? But make sure you study where you're going and gain the freedom. There is no freedom in a job, none. You are beholden to somebody else. But when you own your own business, if you know how to build it and how to structure it, all of these things come into play where you have greater opportunity with your own business, greater leadership, greater authority, and greater freedom. If you have a business, but you don't have those four things, then definitely go to kalkani.com and we will help you. So this is your time. This is your transition. We're in a transition period. We're about to head into a new year. And you saw what happened at the beginning with how every business is transitioning. If people are laying people off, if people are condensing, shrinking down, what does that do for you? There were people back in 2008 where they weren't even in the whole mortgage industry, but it was so systemic, happened to everybody, affected everybody, that they were impacted even if they weren't in the business. And this is why I'm telling you it's a wake-up call. Look at your business if you own one. And are you prepared for all of these downshifts? Because that could affect your clientele. And if you are being exited, what's that velocity? How are you going to hit that home run and get all the way around the bases without losing anything? So this is what we want to talk about today. If you're ready for an iconic exit, I want you to reach out. And if you want to brace yourself in your business against an iconic exit, come talk to us. All you have to do is go to kalkani.com. You will find a calendar right there that you can book a quick 10-minute call. Let us know. Are you facing an exit? Are you trying to create an exit in your company to get lean and mean in the coming years? Or are you just thinking, I need to be prepared? This is coming. So however we can help you, we are happy to. This is one of our areas of expertise. And you can go to our website, iconicbusinessadvisors.com. And if you are in the exit mode, go to executurn.com. And we will see you next week because we have something very exciting coming up next week. And it's actually a very timely topic. If you're looking to grow and scale your business and take it from 6 figures to 7 figures in a year or less with a simple 4-step strategy that isn't going to overwhelm you, overload you, or take all your money, I want you to be here next week. It's a really cool strategy I'm going to show you, but you have to wait till next week. And don't forget to check out our newsletter and our emails, because we send you gifts in your email and all kinds of treats. And of course, feel free to join our group where you can get over 250 free resources to help you grow and scale your business. And if you're a local here in Southern California, hopefully you will be coming to our Tuesday workshops. Every Tuesday where we give you lunch or breakfast and networking and help you grow and scale and walk away with an extra $100,000 plan in your business. So we will see you next week. And I look forward to you being iconic. Tell me your results. Tell me what you thought of this. And of course, subscribe, and we will see you next week.